Everybody, so let us start our class today. And if we go to the schedule space, then according to our schedule, today we will discuss more about object-oriented programming, especially public, private, protected, and static modifiers. Okay, maybe we will not be able to cover inheritance today, so inheritance will not be in your test one. By the way, your test will be when between 11 and 12, right? 12, your Thursday. Next Thursday, your test one, okay? And in this classroom, okay, and for online section, 12, and your test one will be open-ended, and whatever we have discussed so far, that will cover, and whatever we will be discussing tonight, that will cover your test one, and I will try by the weekend or by Monday, I will send out a study guide. Before we come to your next class, okay, I will send you a study guide, but if you have any question, please bring your question on table on our next class on Tuesday. Okay. By the way, if you do not appear in the test one, then your final exam will compensate test one, missing test. But if you come here in this room and see the exam, then you will not be allowed to do that. I encourage everybody to do that, to take the test one. Okay? And in our last lecture, we were discussing how to create a class, how to develop, how to create object of that class, and how to values to C# program we discussed. Okay, dog class example we discussed in our last lecture. By the way, if you go to REPL, and if you go to REPL and type in my first name Mukhtar, then if you press enter, then you will be able to see all of my programs that I discuss in this class. Then you can get this, program, okay, and you can copy this, but you are not to make any change. Okay. What we're discussing that although we used in our last lecture, we use REPL to develop a class, but actually for professional and industry use, so I have not seen any industry they will be using this kind of open. I'm not sure how strong these kinds of IDE. Rather, I have seen all industries, they use Eclipse or Netbit. So I like everybody to be familiar with Eclipse. Okay. In this lecture, I will use Eclipse. I will show you how to use Eclipse. Okay, so but before I go there, so how many of you are familiar with GitHub? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I believe, okay, many of you are not familiar with GitHub. GitHub is a very, very convenient tool. Source, okay, everybody, I like everybody to be in using GitHub. And if you are proficient in using GitHub, then you will be ahead, one step ahead. When you go for job interview, when you go for your job, you will be ahead, really ahead. Okay, GitHub is a source control system, and it is also called version control system, and it is used to work in a team that is secure and reliable. Most of the many companies, they use GitHub or Microsoft Source Safe or something. Okay, so in this time, you will not any company that will allow you to use your flash drive or pen drive or CD drive to exchange your code. Okay. So if you go to github.com and then you type in my user ID CSITEd expert, that you will see that I have 50 repositories. Actually, I have more repositories. Some of them are private. So if I sign in to my GitHub account, then I will be able to see all of my repositories. You see, now I see after I sign in, I see 95 repositories. That means I have about 45 repositories that are private. Okay, private repositories are shareable with 3 members. Okay, so I want to show you. So this is 1322 S03 Spring 19. So if you go in this section, in this repository, click on the SRC folder, you will see that all of the programs I discussed in my last semester. And in this semester, we will all of this. Okay, so for now, let me create a new repository. I will show you quickly how to create a new repository and how to link that with your Eclipse. So I will show you very quickly, but I want quick names. So instead of fall, see, I want to put fall. Okay. Java. This is for Java only. So I want to make it public. So what I need to click initialize the repository with README. Select a language Java. Select a language Java. Then I will select a license template, maybe Apache or something. Let me click on create repository. Okay, the repository is created with some one initial commit and with some template. Okay, so now what I will do, I will copy this one, click over here and then copy this one. If I click over here, actually this entire thing will be copied. So then I need to go to my workspace folder, and in my workspace folder I will clone that project. That clone command is like git clone. Okay, then control V, I will paste that address. This is the very simple one to clone or copy a GitHub repository. Then I got this template. I got this. I will CSE1321 Fall19 just created a few minutes ago, a minute ago. This one, but this is empty. It has only Git. Okay. So now what I will do, I will open my Eclipse. I will create a new Java project. I will give its name exactly this one, not this one, exactly same name of my folder name. Okay, I will give this name. I'm sorry, file, new project, Java project. The project name, I will give this as my project name, and I have my location on the same location where I clone my project. Okay. Then maybe next, or even if I do not, okay, if I select next, you see that it is getting this one. Okay. So then I will select finish. Then as soon as I click finish, then I will have a folder over here. You see that is created, and this folder name, look attention to this name. See that one left side is showing me CS1322 section 03 fall 2019, and within square bracket it is showing me same thing again, master. Actually this is square bracket, this is the name of GitHub repository, and it shows that this GitHub repository, this project is linked with this project. This is a local project, is linked with this GitHub repositories master branch. Actually, when we create a Git repository, we can create multiple branches. By default, branch is the master branch. So this is the master branch, so it is related to that master branch. Okay, I'm going very quickly, but if you want to know how to create GitHub and how to create GitHub and how to create GitHub account and how to install Git and GitHub related stuffs, I have a playlist. It is called Git and GitHub related videos. There are only 11 videos, so about an hour to 2 hours maximum you will need. If you watch these videos, then you will be able to start using GitHub with some commands. Okay. Okay, so now we got our project. This project is linked with GitHub. So now let us create a new class. Okay, new program. Okay, we can create a new program, or we can create, actually we will create a new class. Whatever we want to make it as a program, we create as a class. So let us make a main class. Yeah, we are creating main class in order to keep our method. So if I click this one, public static void main, then it will create a main method template in this class, within this class. So this is my main method, is created template, and this we do not need these stuffs. Okay, now let me do quickly. I want to copy my previous course. Okay, all of my course, actually this one, from this to all the way, copy of this course, and after main, right? So within main, if I put this code, this should work. Okay, there is no error, so that means it should work. And one thing that in Eclipse, I like to use Eclipse because I know there are some very quick command. If I do Control A, select all, then press Control I, it will be indented. All of my codes are indented rightly. That would take a long time without using this command. So if I run this program just by clicking run over here, it will give me my output on the console window in the back and the bottom. So that was why we were discussing in our last lecture, right? Anybody has any issue? Any question for this? Okay. Okay. So here program, what we did actually, we created a class that is called dog. We created a dog class in order to create dog object. Okay. So and we see that we have already another class. That is the main class. All Java programs, actually by default, Java and C# programs, okay, contains a public method that contains a public class public method, main method. This method is also static. We will discuss static modifier in our lecture today. And this will be in your test. About static modifier, there will be a question in your test. So usually it is okay that, for instance, this is when if we select this curly bracket, ending curly bracket, is connect, it's showing me connection over here. Is the end of this class. This class is also outside of this class, previous class. This class, the dog class, this is dog class is outside of my main class. Okay. So one thing is that in a Java file, Java program, or in a single file can contain only one of them will be public. So that means this is the public class. I cannot make this class as the public class because I cannot have multiple public classes in a Java file. The reason is that whatever is my public class, the file will be saved exactly same name. You see that the file is saved exactly same name, main class.java. Actually, by seeing this name, I know that there is a public method name, public class name, main class. So if I want to make this one also public, okay, so there is that I can keep public classes in one file. So then I can copy and cart this, and I can maybe select and paste over here. You see that I created dog class over here, public class dog, and then this whenever as soon as I made the paste command over here, it automatically created this dog.java program. Okay, and but my main program is showing an error. What is my error? Okay, so as soon as I save it, it is showing it's gone. My error is. But since these are in the same package, so there is no error. We don't need to import this. Okay? But later if we use different package, then we need to import that class. Okay, that's now. So now our code is clean. The smaller this main method is smaller, and then this dog class is separated from the main class. So anyone has any questions so far? That was what we discussed in our last lecture. Yes. You can have multiple classes when okay there are okay we are going to discuss that. Okay, so modifier. Okay, to discuss today access modifiers. Let me go to my resources page, and I should have Okay, so we were discussing this, right, in our last lecture. We want to discuss access modifiers. That means private, public, protected. Not sure why is that out. Okay, I got it. Access modifier or accessor. Okay, we are going to discuss this tonight. Okay, access modifier, accessor or modifiers are some keywords that define the accessibility range of a class element or a method element. Okay, so what do we mean by accessibility range or region? You see that some of these are private, some of these are private, and some of these are public. So there are four access modifiers. There are four access modifiers: private, public, protected, and there are four types of access modifier: private, public, protected, default. Default means nothing. Default is not a keyword, but when we do not use any modifier, that is called default. Okay, but you see that I use public over here. This class is public. Okay, and these are here in this place for the fields. I could also use public. I could also use public. Okay, I could also use public for all of those, but I did not use anything. Okay, that means I made this default. The default modifier for the default modifiers. Okay, default modifiers are is eligible for the fields and methods. So these are default elements properties are accessible within the package. You see that I give any package name, but let me make a package new dog package. Okay, so I create this dog package and let me move this and this within dog class. As soon as I move this within dog, see that I got this at the beginning command package dog pack. This is the import statement. So then I do not need this actually. I do not need this. I can delete this dog class and I can also delete this main class. So I am using this main class within dog package. Okay, so when I see my, so these are, if I do not use any accessor, then these are default. Default are accessible within the package. Okay, but then there are three domains: public, private, and protected, right? So if I say this public, then it is accessible, it has a wide range of accessibility. That means it is accessible within the class, within the package, outside the package. Any other package that inherits, so far we do not know about inherits, okay, that acquires this project will be able to use this public information. So in some rare cases, or but is very few cases, you will keep element properties public. If it is public, then anybody can access it. Secret information we will never put as public. For instance, our social security number, student record, we never make it public. We make those private. Okay. So if, for instance, in order to make private, okay, we use private keyword. Okay. We use private keyword. You see that as soon as I made Wait, I got an error in the main method, right? You see that? Show you again. If I delete, you see that I do not have any error. How can I see that I have any error? Do any mistake, for instance, here in my program. So you see that okay, as soon as I make some error, that you see that there is a cross sign over showing over here, okay. Or it will also may show a cross sign on the file name. Okay, as soon as I make this, sorry, for instance, this one private, then you see that I am getting an error on my main class. That means let us open my main class. So you see that error over here. So private member is not accessible from outside of this. So here my dog, for my dog class, rabbit, this field was made. Okay. So then I am not able to make this command. Okay. So this is within from main class. Okay. So there is the difference between a private and a public member. If it is public, then it is accessible from anywhere. But if it is accessible within the class, understand? Okay, there are two other modifiers. One is default, that means nothing. When I do not use any accessibility mode, that is default. Default is accessible within the package. Okay, one more accessor, that is called protected. Okay, protected is in between private and public. Okay, protector has the accessibility in between and public, less than public, something more than private. Okay, at this point I want to skip protected because it is related to inheritance. Protected members is accessible only one level of inheritance. Okay, for instance, if I have, okay, my father has some property, I do have access to my father's, right? But my children do not have. Children have accessibility to my property, direct, immediately one step, but not my parents' property. Okay, if I get my parents' property, then that property my children can get. But my children cannot get my parent property, because I'm telling that my children cannot directly get their grandfather's property. We know that, right? Maybe this is the rule in some countries. Okay, that is kind of protected. We are discussing inheritance in this lecture, so let us skip now for now protected. When we find that situation, I will discuss about protected in detail. Okay, but so far whatever we learned, public, private, and protected. So if it is private, okay, if it is public, then it's easy. Then we can access this way within another class, within main class, within another method. We are accessing this name, rabbit, weight, leg count. We are accessing this very frequently, easily. But, believe me, this is not the perfect way. This is not the perfect way that everybody will know my bank account. Even in a good world, where everybody is honest. For instance, even if you are in same family, okay, everybody should not know bank account information. There should have some level of privacy, right? Okay, so this is, although these are public or protected or default, this is not a good way to make this accessibility open. So what should we do now? For then, we should make them private. What happens when I make private to this age or anything? You see that my main method showing error. In which line is it showing error? This line. I do not have access to age directly. So then what should we do now? So we have to use indirect. We have to use these private members indirectly. For instance, okay, we know that we keep our social security number secret, right? But for some places, you make that open. For instance, in your bank, when you want to create your open your new bank account, right? You have to show your social security card to your banker, right? He or she may know that, right? We trust that he or she will not be misuse that, but we give them your number, right? For instance, in your admission office, sometime for your first time admission to maybe your social security number or something, right? So that means we give them secure or in a different way, right? Similarly, we will use secure method in order to access these private variables. So what is the secure way? Is to create getter and setter. So once we do a right click, you see that there is a little yellow line is okay. So and also this is the warning. Okay, so this says the value of the field dog dot age of dog is not used. Actually, we did not use that. Actually, we commented out somewhere. We want to comment out somewhere. Okay. Even if I comment it out, then this code will be gone. This error will be gone. You see, but we will not comment it out, but we will use it alternatively and securely. What way? We will create header, we will create getter and setter for this. Create getter and setter, do a right click over here and select source. And then somewhere in down you will see generate getter and setter. So it will say give you a list of all of your fields for which you want to create generate getter or setter. For now, let us create generate age. Okay, only for age. Then I will create generate. See that it creates as get age that returns age and it's created set with argument integer age and it says this dot age equal to age. This is called the setter. This is called the setter method and this is called the getter method. Almost same this getter and setter method. Remember the difference between the setter method sets the value field and getter method returns the value. How do I remember this? You know, getter, this one is getter, Getter. Okay, so then I remember this way. Getter, I type in get, get, and then I comes in reverse order, R-E-E-T. Okay, returns. So that means getter returns. Okay, setter method does not have a return. Okay, by serially your getter method will come first. In your program, you have to use setter method, call setter method first. You have to set the value first. So how do I set that? What is the age was? I will say J1 dot set age. You see that when I say set age, it is showing int age, an argument, and it's showing void, return type void, and define within doc. Okay, I will whatever the age value I will give, I say age is 4. Okay, then J1's age is 4. Then I will be able to use J1, this one, J1 is. So how I will use J1 is, so not J1 dot is. So when I click over here, J1 dot get is. You see get is, this method, it is returning my age. See the get age, this is a method. Now if I run this program, it will show me j1.age. Believe me, if I give me few equal sign, then I will be able to see this equal sign. Okay, my output is up. You see my, I'm sorry, J2, because I have to type in J1 here. Run it again. You see my J1.age equal to 4. Okay, how did I make here, right? So if I make it 4 instead of 14, then if I run this program, then it will show me j1 dot age equal to 14. This is showing by get age is returning age, okay, that is 14, that is, and set age is setting the age. This is called setter, this is called getter method. Okay. So in your test, you are asked to write a class, for instance dog. Okay, you will be asked to, you may be asked to write a make fields, maybe name or age as private, and then you will be asked to write getter and setter method for your private variable. You can also make getter and setter for the public member as well as got protected. Okay, even if I make this one protected, I can create this one is public and this one is protected. Okay, I can create getter and setter for name and rabbit as well as. So how do I do? Take your cursor over here anywhere, then click on source, then click on get generate getters and setters, and select run name and what is that called, rabbit. You see that there are different colors over here and different icons on that accessibility type. So I need to create getter and setter for name. You see that if you remember one, all setter methods are same thing. You see the set is and set name, same, exactly same. Set is and set name. Okay, the name is, so it will give string name, because why it is getting string name? Because my name is string. And here my age is integer type. This is why it sets integer age. And it says this dot age equal to age, and here this dot name equal to name. This is the format of setup method, setter method. So if you remember or memorize one setter method, you will be able to write thousand method, right? All same format, right? Anyone has any question about getter and setter method? Setter method is used to set to the field. Which field? This field. Actually, this name, same name. This is the field. And getter method is used to return that or get that hello. Okay. And how do we use this getter and setter method? You see that get age. This is the method. Okay. And set age. This is the setter. Setter method always contains argument, but getter always return value. Okay, it is sometimes for novice programmer it is confusing. Sometimes novice programmer they gave this one as setter and sometimes they give on this one as the way I used to remember that getter methods return how this way. So I I went through like getter returns. How do I say returns? So getter ZT then RET. Come up reverse order. RET. Getter method returns. Anyone has any question about getter and setter method? Okay, for your you have to remember. Yes. Yes, I'm going to tell that. Yes. Okay, getter and setter is C sharp has a very nice way and shortcut way to set up getter and setter method. Okay, in C sharp you can write this way. You can write this way, no problem. But there is a shortcut way to set up getter and setter in C sharp. Okay, let me see if I get time. If I have time, then I will create a C sharp program. Okay, then I will discuss this. Anyone has any more question? It is a good question for C sharp. C sharp can use you can use this, but C sharp has a shortcut way to set up getter method. I will discuss that. Okay. Okay. Now I want to give 2 minutes break. Or I want to give a 3 minutes break. And by this time, I like everybody's. Okay, in this section now I want to discuss static modifier. Okay, static keyword. Okay, static is a keyword, so all the word should be written in static, all in lowercase. It is used in almost in all object-oriented programming languages. Okay, only attributes, that means fields or methods, marked as static. Okay, what are the static attributes? Okay. Let me see how many slides I do have. Then, okay, that is the last slide. Okay, give attention, please. What is a static? Why do we need static? So, in general, it is in object-oriented programming, it is the case that objects, so what is name here? Name is a field or attribute, right? Okay. Name is defined or declared. The declaration of name is within the J1's class, right? J1's class. What is J1's class? J1's class, right? So name is defined in the dog class. Similarly, bar rabbit is defined in the dog class, and weight, leg count, these are all defined within our dog class. Okay, in general, it is the tradition or rule that if an attribute or a field of a class will be accessible by only class object, by only the object, not an other way, not directly. For instance, something like this. Okay, but here we have seen that also another way that a method of a class should be accessible or runnable by an object of that class. So remember that now, for now, we from our beginning, from our early beginning, we are using our main method, static method, right? We were using our main method as a static method. Remember that this main method is a method of main class, right? So by convention, we were an object of this main class, something like this, main class, maybe MC, my object name equal to new main class, something we were supposed to create, maybe a question. And then maybe we would use MC main class dot main. We are supposed to call this main method like this way. By tradition, if we follow our convention, right? We know that all methods should be accessed by the class's object, not in directly. But for main method, we violated that convention, right? We have an alternative way that we use static modifier. We did not create class. Okay. So this is the concept of making is more static methods or static members there, so that we can use that directly, call them directly. The main method is static. It has been defined as static so that we do not require to create an object of our main class to call or run this main method. Okay, this is that we made this static. Now if we can make any other member static. For instance, for this dog class, I could make the public static string, see, name as a I could make this static. I could make this static. And for instance, I could make it static. So I can say static public, or I can say public static. Okay, is good. The modifier. So if it's public static name, so when I make this my name or age as a static, then it's become global. Okay, for instance, then it become common for all dogs, for all instances of this class. Okay, for instance, all of you are students at KSU University, KSU, right? Kerala State University, right? So in all of your record, academic record, there is a position name. It's called institution name, right? For all of you, what is your institution name? Kerala State University, right? So it is unusual that for all of you, we will create a different variable, okay, institution name, and we will re-enter the institution name again and again. Then we can make a common institution name variable or field, and we can reuse them for all students at Kerala State University, right? So that means when we can make them as static. So when we make it static, then it becomes common for all members, all objects of this class. And that becomes the property of the class, not a specific instance. Then when we make it static, then what happened? For instance, we can here, you see that when I made static, it is showing is yellow. This one, yellow underline. That means because I made a name and the length count is my main name, and you see this is count. These are static. So when these are static, so these are the property of class, not specific object. So I should call them like this way, dog.name. That means all dogs in will have name Tom. Okay. In general, we shouldn't have this. So let me get rid of name from the static static from this name, but let us keep that. We know that as usual all dogs have 4 legs, right? In general, keep this static. So then in here we will say dog dot length leg count equal to 4, and we need to save it. Once you save it, then we'll go. Okay. You see that how did I access this count? By not by individual, by the name of the class. Okay. Okay. So now question is that can I use my dog class within my move method? I'm going to say, okay. Another thing is that somewhere I wanted to show you. Okay, so far, okay, so what is that? Okay, there is a restriction, but there is a restriction in order to access a static member. Okay, the method needs to be a static itself. That means a non-static member cannot have access to a static member. In order to access a static member, okay, it needs to be a static. How do I remember that? I do a story. I want to share a story with you. How do I remember static modifier? Okay, modifier is something like that. For instance, there are some people in this world, they are famous. They are famous in a way that when you say their name, people know their name. Okay. For instance, there are hundreds or thousands people named Barack Obama in this world, right? In general, when you say Barack Obama, it in general means the former president, U.S. President Barack Obama, right? But in specific, when you say Barack Obama of USA, then you are more likely that you are defining, you are meaning that you are indicating the former President Barack Obama, right? Okay, so like President Trump, Mr. Trump, there are many people, maybe 100 or 1,000 people have same name, Donald Trump, right? But if you say, even in you go in a far away country in Bangladesh country or somewhere, and if you say that I have a friend of Donald Trump, then people will say, oh, you are the friend of President Donald Trump, of US President, right? People will honor it, right? But maybe there are many other, you may have a friend that is not the US President, same name, right? Okay, but in general, that is the, I'm going that. So, but how when you say, we say dot operator, we use dot operator to mean off, wave off, position. Say leg count of dog. We will read it out this way. Leg count of dog equal to 4. Okay, for instance, if we have a class, something, for instance, this one, by seeing this one, dog class, you will remember that this leg count is a property of the dog. It's every dog. For instance, the former president or a US president is a property of the whole country, right? A president is a property of a country or a nation, a country, right? So for instance, if in my program I have a class USA dot president, I might have a field equal to, I say, if I say like this will mean that President of USA is Barack Obama. Okay, now my story is that, okay, when we can say that these or former presidents is my friend, is usually that if I am a president of a country, then it's very likely that I can be a president of another. I can be a friend of another president, right? For instance, if I want to be a president of a country, then it's likely that I need to be a president of another country, or I need to be a person of that range, right? So that means I want to make that, I want to tell you that about that in order to act as a static member, because a static member has higher range, like a president has a higher range, higher honor in our society, right? Our nation, right? So in order to call a president by his name, for instance, we need to be a president, another president. So that means in order to access a static member, we need to have another static member. That means a non-static member cannot access to a static member. You remember that? The reason is that it is an interview question. Sometimes people may ask you, what is the special characteristics of static member? Okay. In order to access a static member, the accessor needs to be a static. That means the method needs to be a static. Okay. That means a static member can call is another static member. A non-static member cannot call a static member. Remember everybody? Okay, there is another story. You know that the convention is that you have a PhD degree. If you have a PhD degree, then you can call another person with PhD degree by their first name. Otherwise, you have to say you say my name is I'm Dr. Mokhtar. Right? If you have a PhD, then you can call me by Hey Mokhtar. That is the rule. That's the convention. But if you do not have a PhD, then you have to call me Dr. Sain. Like almost similar convention. Okay, so static modifier has spatial accessibility. Okay, that is static member modifier becomes the property of the entire class. For instance, president is the property or a representative of a country. When a president goes to another country and sign on a treaty or agreement, that becomes the agreement between the countries, right? Not person to person. Something when we make it feel, that feels becomes the property for the whole class, not an individual object. Remember? Okay. So what we say that whatever these are discussed in the following slides. So in order to, you see this, if we use this one, for instance, this one is static, right? Allowed method, and my dog count then it is accessible. One thing, maybe I can create this class. How many minutes I do have? 10 minutes. Okay, for instance, let us create another method. Okay, dog counter and dog counter plus. Okay, it's showing me error that I need a field. static int dot counter, okay, equal to 0, I can say initially. In the dark, static int dot 0. I need a return. What is showing?